So my next question is, what is your stance on the current uniform policy in DPSCD alongside the strict dress code?
Okay, the uniform policy. I don't know if I'm the right one to ask about that because I believe in uniforms. Uh, when I was a principal, we had a uniform. My middle school had a different look than my elementary school. I was able to tell my middle school students from the elementary, uniforms are good because we're in a large district and you don't want to taunt anyone because of what they're wearing. So if you have the same uniform on that I have on, I can't make fun of you. I can't say anything about you. I just think that the uniform policy should be across the board. It can't be one thing for one school and something else for another school. If you're a DPSC student, let's all look alike. So, and I even agree with if the schools have different colors, but still make it a uniform. And I really believe in uniforms. It cuts down a lot of headaches and problems. And it's good for parents too, because you don't have to worry about what your child is wearing the next day. They're in a uniform. To remedy the problem of students not being able to afford uniforms, let me just go to, then the schools should have uniforms. And I don't mean uniforms where someone that used them and they brought them back to the school. Schools should be able to have a supply of brand new uniforms. So if you came in my office to me, and I did this because I worked with a uniform store, and you told me I can't get my uniform, I can't do, or a parent called me, you wouldn't call me, the parent would call. And I would say, go to so-and-so, they're gonna give you at least 2 uniforms. Not one, I agree with you about one. You cannot wear that 5 days a week. But there should be a uniform closet in every school. Maybe we can use some money for that. A uniform closet in every school where if a parent calls, they get 2 uniforms. How does that sound?
So I actually, so a lot of students have been reaching out to me about free dress. And I think that if that's what they want, that's what they should have. I mean, I have a niece that goes to Southfield A&T. They have free dress. And I don't think that there's an issue with school culture there. And so a lot of individuals say, well, it messed up the school culture. Then somebody may be left out because they don't have the designer clothes. And I think really free dress will allow students to actually show, because we have a lot of talented students. I had a student that made their own clothes. And so I think it is opportunity for them to show the skills that they have. I'm not a Jordan's person, so it won't hurt me to see another student on with Jordan. So, but at the end of the day, I think it creates more challenges when we say, hey, you got to wear black slacks, white collar shirts, and even as a culture facilitator and a culture person at my school, I advocated, hey, we have a lot of athletes. We have a school athletes. Let them wear jogging pants, and so then it created a problem. But then now, as we enter into another school year, they're saying, okay, we're going to let them wear jogging pants. But I think, free dress is something that I believe that we can implement. I think that it may not cause a culture issue or a problem. And then if we see that, then maybe we'll have to figure out how to, go back that way. But I think that it's needed for a try. It's good for a try. And then it creates an opportunity for students to say, I want to come to school when it's free dress. I remember times when we used to do it in middle school. We'll have $1, on Friday, everybody pay $1 to come free dress. Everybody came to school that day, on count day. We use it as on count day as a, come to school free dress. Everybody want to show up. So why not do it every day where we know that we can have, we're talking about chronic absenteeism. Okay, this is a way that we could pivot from that. And so I appreciate that question. That's something I'm going to talk about within my platform. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
So you notice it's changed. This year there's a new policy, right? Because all schools aren't following the uniform policy. And that really is because board members and the superintendent, we sat down, we talked about what does this look like. I met with a couple of young people from the DAM group, And so, you know, they were very vocal. Young people were coming to the board meetings. They were very vocal. And I can appreciate the position that young people were taking. Uniforms are convenient for some families because for them, they don't have to worry about all of the nuances of other clothes, right? It's like, okay, you got a couple pair of black pants, blue shirts, let's go, we're good. Multiple kids, that type of thing, I get it. So what we're trying this year is you'll notice that in that code of conduct, the uniform is a very relaxed policy. It's not even called uniform in some of the schools, mainly like a school like Cass Tech. But there are about, if I'm not mistaken, there are about 16 schools that have tried to veer away from it to try it. The one problem I think that some of the administrators were having is when they were getting laxed, the students were getting more laxed, right? So what does that look like as you say, no rips, right? Or very few rips. Oh, now the rips are, you know, high up and, you know, those type of things. And so what I'm hoping is some of the feedback that we get from the school level leaders now walk us in the right space to see if this was the right decision. But we have definitely relaxed it. This is the first year under this leadership team that we've relaxed it. We don't want people getting suspended for uniforms and shirts not tucked in and belt. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy because in some households, that's all they have. And so we want to make sure that they are not being locked out of school and kept at home for things as frivolous as that. You know, let's support. There are a lot of stakeholders who want to support in that way. And I know they've done uniform closets at different schools so that young people can get the resources that they need, from shoes to undergarments to uniforms. And so I know that that will continue. I want that to continue for those who are more comfortable that way. But I'm hoping that this relaxation of the code of conduct regarding the attire that young people wear to school, I'm hoping we made the right decision as we go forward, but we'll soon see if it was the right decision. And this was based on the feedback from the young people, honestly, because some parents were still pushing back saying, no, keep the uniforms. So this really was feedback that we received from young people and us being responsive to the feedback that we received, which was well articulated, well thought out, well planned. Surveys were done. I mean, you know, our young people they're on task, they're on point. And so I appreciate being able to meet with them and have them share their values and their views with me.
So, you know, when it comes to, you know, the uniform policy and the dress code policy, and this was one of the things I actually was thinking about, you know, earlier today. I think that we should be able to, if we're going to enforce a uniform policy, that we should be able to invest money in uniforms to where students are actually able to receive, you know, uniforms, you know, from the school when they are enrolled. I think that students should be in uniform at least, you know, 3 to 4 days a week, but that we should have a relax on Friday to where students are able to come to school on Fridays to be able to have a lax day or just be cool or have a t-shirt, something on that's not inappropriate, but to be able to come on Fridays and they're able to relax the uniform policy. The reason why I think that it should be put in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday is that it teaches our students how to be successful outside the classroom. Because when we get ready to go to jobs, when we get ready to go to work, they enforce uniform policies. They enforce being able to make sure you have the proper shoes and proper, you know, pants and shirt on. So I think that that's very important that we're teaching that, we're growing that inside the schools so that they'll know how to be able to deal with life outside of the schools. But I do think, like on Fridays, that children should be able to have, you know, relax on school policy. And I also think that even though that school policy is put into places, that we should never turn a child away and tell a child that they have to go home because they don't have the proper uniforms, or maybe because they come to school one day and their shirt's not clean or their pants not clean. Give that child support, give that child love, be understanding. Don't just put a uniform policy there and say, well, if your child don't come to school in the proper uniform, he's not going to miss school. And then we come into the thing about chronic absences. See, all these different things that they are working together, because if you come to school, come to school Wednesday and maybe you don't have a proper uniform or your uniform not clean, maybe your washer or dryer went out, you know, the night before. Maybe you might be going to the homelessness issues and whatnot. So I think that that policy should put in place, but that there should be different amendments to the policy that make sure that the child is still getting the education and the support that they need to be able to come to school with that uniform on, that a child should not be turned away or go home or may feel embarrassment because they don't have the proper uniform on. But that if that child is not able to get those uniforms, that we offer the support to those families to make sure that they have those uniforms.
Let's just be honest, like everyone in this city doesn't have the same resources, right? And I wish there was a way that if you want to enforce uniforms, then there should be uniform vouchers. There should be the ability to have, if it's so strict, we should be supplying uniforms and washer and dryers and a lot of other things. Like, let's just be real. People, everybody's not on the same level. And sometimes, if a kid gets sent to the office because they got on some, I don't know, I'm just kind of throwing this out there, like some black pants versus some khakis, like that's really disruptive to their education. And you can imagine how on edge they may be if they just don't have the resources to buy what they need, or their families don't have the resources to purchase uniforms. And so I believe in flexibility. I believe that a student, and I think that we should be sensitive as a district to our parents and our students. There are a lot, unemployment rates are up right now. And I mean, there are a lot of factors, right? That, and not just unemployment rates. I mean, there's so many different factors that impact the way children dress. A lot of research is done on that, from, the ability to purchase all the way down to the ability to wash clothes, right? And so I think that we should not focus so much on what the student is wearing. We should be focused on teaching them and ensuring that they have a safe environment to show up as they are.
As a parent, this year, dress codes will be different at every school, based upon the administrators and possibly if the PTAs, if schools had them, parents would have had the opportunity to ring in on it. Specifically, my student is attending Cass Tech, so it is a dress code that is more to the leisure side. So they are being allowed to wear jeans without any exposure of the flesh. So I'm a parent that I would agree with that. I want students to be comfortable, but also I don't believe that the focus should be on uniform policy as wide as, okay, you've got to wear this color, you've got to wear these type of pants, unless we're going to address the inequities that some parents may be challenged to purchase specific uniforms. But then we have funds in place from DPSCD existing that I do think would help offset, some of these costs that parents experience, especially in the K through 8. But high schoolers, there's been a lot of discussion surrounding them being able to, articulate their identity through their clothing. And as long as it's not offensive and we're adhering to the, policy of exposure of the body, I'm comfortable with that. But I would just say that, it's not a uniform policy across the district that we'll be seeing this year.
I've never had a real deep concern about what kids wore, but I guess it's probably not a bad idea. I guess if I had to make a decision about a uniform policy, I would vote in favor of it. If that's the policy of the school district, I would go along with it. I don't have a strong opinion on that topic, but I would go with the school's dress code and approve of it.
Thank you for your answer. So